What's up, everybody? This is Luke with Wilson Auto Detailing, and I'm setting up my phone the right way here so we can get a good... There it is. Okay. So as promised, tonight is the live stream for the live broadcast of the question and answer. Now, this, because it's live, is going to be... It's going to be longer. Anthony, what's up, bro? Thanks for tuning in. It's going to be longer because it's not edited, right? So it's going to be longer. But, dude, are you serious? Watching live from a wedding. I love weddings, but this is way better. Oh, Alex, what's up, bro? So, okay, guys, I literally just got done working. I had 2 cars today, and... Anthony, you're cracking me up right now, man. Okay, but seriously, Zach, I got your question, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Soccer Master, what's up? Junior, you're the best. I knew you'd be watching. Love you, man. Okay, now, I just got done detailing 2 cars today. One was a Tahoe Suburban. One was a 91 Jaguar, which is the one I just got done working on. So that's awesome. But anyways... I literally just got home, so this is like as raw as it gets, right? I'm like super dirty. But yeah, I was rushing to get home so that I could do this. So we're going to go ahead and get into the questions. And I didn't like write anything down or prepare for this. I just wanted it to be like super raw, real, and pretty much as good as it could get. So I am pulling these questions off of my notifications. Eugene, thank you so much. And I so appreciate that. I love that encouragement. It definitely, you know, means a lot. Very serious. So, anyways, so I'm going to start. There's nobody behind me, okay? I promise. Nobody is behind me. There's nobody else in this room. It's just me. Sorry, guys, if I seem kind of like whack or like not on it because I literally just got done working. And I just, like, I was so running crazy. So let's find a good question here. Junior, you're classic. Let's find a good question here. Let's see. La-da-dee, la-da-doo, la-da-dum. Oh, this is one I wanted to answer. Zach, you asked this. Do I still use Purple Power? Because I've been talking about Super Clean so much, and I love it. It's awesome, but I definitely still use Purple Power, and I think I put that in the video that I posted this morning. I use Purple Power on tires, engines, and... Yeah, Zach, by the way, I appreciate you commenting, man. You're the best. I use Purple Power on tires, engines, wheel wells. I pretty much use Purple Power on anything that I know I'm going to have to, like, spray a lot of degreaser on, just because I'm frugal and it's just the way I am. Like, I'm just super cheap and there's just nothing anybody can do about it. And so even though Super Clean is, like, still so cheap and it's a great degreaser and you can use a ton of it and not really have to worry about it, because Purple Power is so cheap and it's literally less than $5 a gallon, I stick to Purple Power when I'm using it on things that I have to use a ton of degreaser. So I definitely still use Purple Power. It's definitely still in my arsenal, and yes, I do that. Brent, you asked, what about waterless washes? So I talked about a lot about Optimum No Rinse, which technically is not a waterless wash, right? Because it's just a rinseless wash, so you still use water in that. But a waterless wash is good. I definitely am not against anything like that. Most waterless wash products are... I guess they don't have a huge place in my world because you're not going to use a waterless wash on a car that has a ton of surface dirt, because it's almost like a waterless wash needs to be used on very light dirt, but like in that case, I would just go ahead and use ONR, or I would just a spray bottle full of ONR. because that's just going to be easier in my opinion and quicker. Or I might even just use Meguiar's Synthetic Express Spray Wax over the very, very light dust if that's really how clean it is already. But a waterless wash is supposed to, you know, clean the car before you apply the wax. But if it's a lot of dirt, the waterless wash is going to really increase the risk of scratching. And so I just think it's probably best to stick with the kind of the traditional, like, take the surface dirt off, prepare the paint, wax the paint. I don't know if that helps you. I don't really use waterless washes very much. I just because if a car is collecting surface dirt, you know, to any sort of like kind of a good degree, then if you're not using water, a lot of times there's just kind of a risk of scratching there, and I just kind of like to avoid that altogether. I'm very, very big on just risk management, and I just don't even I don't even like to play the game if I know it's gonna scratch. So anyways, I hope that helps. I don't really use waterless washes, but I think they're great in certain, you know, I don't know. Yes, obviously. You're the best, Brett, definitely. Now, let me see if I can get these questions here. Let me see if I can set this up in a little bit better way. Yes, John, thank you for backing me up. Waterless wash is risky. Guys, can you tell I've never gone live before with how shaky this camera is? I look like an idiot. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. I want to go back to the messages you guys just wrote in, but I don't know how exactly. So let me see if I can figure this out. Okay. No, I can't. I'm not really sure. Other than exactly when I get notified. You might have to write it in again, actually, for me to see it. So if I didn't answer your question yet, just write it in again and let me see it one more time. Okay, guys, but unless you do that, I'll just answer another one off my notifications. And I thought this was a good question from Mustang Verde. So, let's see. Zach said, I used Purple Power at full power on some leather seats, and it worked great after I put some Lexol conditioner on it after that. Is that okay? Results better? Okay, yeah, definitely a good question. Full-strength Purple Power on leather seats or full-strength degreaser on any leather seat. In fact, even some, like, heavier diluted degreasers on leather seats can be risky just because, and you might have experienced this before, but if you let degreaser, even diluted degreaser, sit for any sort of extended period of time on leather, when you dry it off, there's these tiny little water droplet marks almost, and it looks like one tiny part of the leather was almost cleaned better than the rest, and it almost looks like little raindrops of lighter colored. I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to communicate. And it's almost like where yeah, if you didn't have any of those, that's totally good, because it doesn't happen all the time. And a lot of times when the seat kind of like dries completely in the sun, even if those things do appear, they go away a lot of times. But it is if it worked for you, then that's great. I don't know that I would encourage people to use full strength Purple Power, just because it's a very, like, even in the degreaser world, Purple Power is kind of intense and kind of industrial grade, and so I don't think I'd use it full strength on leather, but 5-to-1 is normally what I dilute it at. But if it worked for you and it gave you great results, great. And good job on finishing up with Lexol, because Lexol, even if it's labeled a cleaner, it just sucks. It just sucks. It does. And there's no way. So yes, Junior, okay, wait, I've only had that happen when spraying product directly onto my leather. My mom has a Tesla, so I'm not going to be trying to... Yeah, Zach, don't be risky on a Tesla. And yes, my other guy who, wait, I just forgot your question because they come so fast. What did you say? Oh, when you spray it directly on leather. That's a great point. The point I was making about those little water droplets, kind of making that light-colored little raindrop sort of things, that will happen a lot of times when you spray it directly onto the leather. That was a very good point. I did not include that. So it's always a good idea if you're using like a non-abrasive scrub pad or like a magic eraser, spray the degreaser on whatever applicator you're using and then apply it to the leather, because those little things will definitely form easier when you spray it directly on the leather. Okay. Any other questions specifically? And Junior, yes, I did look at those links of that phone charger you sent me, and thank you so much for doing that. It's going to be awesome. Okay, how was your experience with Purple Power on wheels themselves, been their finish, and etc.? I've had to strip crown finish before. Yeah, so John, I do not use Purple Power on wheels at all, like whatsoever. I don't even risk it. I've heard way too many testimonies about it doing something bad. But of course, I use it on tires. And a lot of people ask, well, if you use it on the tire, doesn't it get overspray onto the chrome wheel or the aluminum wheel? And yes, it does, but because I clean the wheel before I clean the tire, Mad Wax, ask me that question again in like 60 seconds. Because I use the Purple Power, yeah, on the tire, it runs down onto the wheel, but I clean the wheel beforehand, and so the wheel is already soaked in water, and so the Purple Power, number one, I don't ever let it, like if it drips down onto the wheel, I don't ever let it sit there for any sort of like extended period of time, and number two, because the wheel's already wet, when the Purple Power hits it, it automatically gets, at least to a certain degree, diluted with that water that's already on the wheel, so it's not quite full strength when it hits the wheel, but I hose it off so quickly, it's never, overspray is just never ever an issue. Nathan asked, what's a great starter orbital polisher? The Griot's, Meguiar's, or Porter Cable? Honestly, I would go with the Griot's. Meguiar's is great, I just think it's a little way too beginner, and I know I haven't done any polishing yet, but I will do some polishing, or I haven't done any polishing videos yet, but I'll definitely do some polishing videos and paint correction to help you guys out with that, but I'm trying to kind of start more beginner level with the videos. Now, I think the Griot's Garage is just a good DA orbital because it can be used, it will take care of like 90% of the jobs you do. Yeah, Nathan, definitely. I think it'll take care of like 90% of the jobs you do, and a lot of times detailers have this idea that like they need to get the best, like the Rupe's Bigfoot DA polisher, which is amazing, but it's like, do you really need that? You know, like the Griot's Garage is just so accessible. You can get it from like AutoZone too. It's like a professional grade product that's like retailed out, which is awesome. But I actually have the Griot's and I love it, and I'll do a bunch of videos about it. So I would definitely go with the Griot's. But all three are great, but the Griot's Garage is good. This question's out of topic. What do you do for fun? What do I do for fun? What do I do for fun? I work all the time. Nathan, yes, keep looking at the Rupe's because it's awesome. I work all the time, literally. I work like 6 days a week, and then I'm also a full-time student, so I'm double majoring in Spanish and MTSU. Entonces, si ustedes están mirando esta película o cosas así y puedes hablar español, then you can message me in Spanish and we'll practice Spanish together. But I'm double majoring in Spanish and organizational communication, and I also do full-time ministry. So, muy bueno. But I also do full-time ministry, and so yeah, I do a bunch of ministry, and I go in and out of the country a lot. Zach, you're classic. I lived in Mexico for a little while my junior year. I love donuts, yes. And yes, that was from one of my videos. That just clicked. But I do a ton of ministry. Oh, sweet, dude. Yes, speak Spanish with me. But yeah, I do a lot of full-time ministry and just ministry for fun because Jesus, to be totally raw and real, guys, like there's really no other answer, but Jesus totally changed my life 6 years ago, and man, I've never been the same. So since that day, never been the same. So anyways, any other questions specifically regarding detailing, and we'll reel it back on topic. You put your music on Bluetooth speaker, don't the people you detail? Oh, do the people not like that I put my Bluetooth speaker out and I play music on my Bluetooth speaker? My customers have never, ever, ever brought that up. Not even once. Nobody has ever complained about it. And, yeah, I blast it, too. I mean, if I'm, like, working at, like, 7 a.m., I don't blast it, but I do kind of blast it. Do you have a favorite paint sealant that you can use in direct sunlight, easy wipe-off? I use Poor Boy's EXP, which works pretty good. Okay. So, do I have a favorite paint sealant? I don't know that I have a favorite paint sealant. Sometimes people use the word sealant in the wrong way, and so I hope we're both on the same page. A sealant is something that's not necessarily a dedicated polish, but may have some abrasives in it and is used as sort of a finishing step or a final step after a car's been wet sanded or polished as a sort of wax covering, but kind of on steroids. So that's the kind of definition of sealant that I'm using right now. And you can have abrasive sealants, you can have some chemical grade sealant, or when I say chemical, it means that it doesn't have any, like, like specific abrasives in it. It just kind of has chemical cleaners that can fix some really fine scratches. And sealants, as a rule, fix really, really, really fine scratches. But if they're any sort of big deal at all, a sealant's not going to take care of it. But I don't know that I have a favorite sealant. Whoa. I don't have a favorite sealant, but I do like, this is kind of a retail product as well, but since I was talking about the Griot's Garage DA polisher, they also, no, I have never restored paint after the clear coat comes off, never. And I like the little one-step paint sealant that comes with the Griot's Garage Random Orbital. It's just called one-step sealant, I think. And I like it because, number one, it's a great product to include with a DA orbital like that because it's going to really help the beginners fix some really awesome things that they may be dealing with. But two, it's a really, really great finisher and can be used in an it can be used really well with the Griot's Garage 6.5 inch finishing pad. Yes, finishing pad. Microfiber finishing pad. And I like that sealant a lot. It does a lot. One time I had a job. Oh, this is a good one. Do you use a pressure washer on the outside of your cars for washing or a foam cannon on the pressure washer? Here we go. I do not use a pressure washer whatsoever. I do not carry a pressure washer. Now, I do have a pressure washer, but it is very, very rare that I ever actually use it or take it with me. I mean, I barely ever take it with me. And that's just because a pressure washer, number one, it requires you to use water. Because I don't carry a water tank, a pressure washer would require me to use not distilled water. And a pressure washer is so powerful that you get overspray. If you're just trying to do one single area and wash something off, you get overspray everywhere, and then you have to deal with all those water spots. And I've just found that in my clientele that I regularly have, like I detailed a 91 Jaguar today. You know, like I'm not going to use there's no need for me to use a pressure washer. I don't really detail cars that are all that dirty, though sometimes I do. But even when the car has a lot of dirt and like a lot of stuff, I still just don't use a pressure washer. I go with O&R like 99% of the time for my first step, just to remove the... Yes, a pressure washer would work great, if that's what you're talking about, with Purple Power to get tires clean. And it would be much faster than scrubbing it, but that's just one of those things in my detailing world where it's like a trade-off for me. I don't have a pressure washer, and so it might take me a little bit longer to do the tires, but... yeah, it's just one of those opportunity costs. Like I don't want to lug around a pressure washer. If you're just joining, this is the Wilson Auto Detailing YouTube channel, and if you're watching on the replay, then great. I'm glad you're here. And by the way, guys, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. I don't know if you can thumbs it up, but if this is cool, thumbs it up, man. And yeah, if you're watching on the replay, definitely give this a thumbs up. And Zach, yeah, we can, baby. Okay, so there was one guy that asked the same question twice, and I didn't get to it. So please type that in one more time, because I definitely want to get to that question. But no, to answer your question, I don't really use a pressure washer. Off-topic question. Are yellow ring stains from spot stain removal caused by not using distilled water? Did I dilute the product I'm using? I've had this problem when trying to get stains out of headliner. A yellow ring. I would say that your problem is probably not the water that's in your cleaner, but probably the fact that you brought up headliner, which is important because headliner, if something is in headliner, headliner has a tendency to, when you clean it, when it dries, the stain reappears. And it's called this, I don't really want to explain it because it's kind of like another subject, but it's called a wicking phenomenon. And wicking means like if you put a paper towel and you have a cup of water and you put a paper towel halfway into that water, but you keep half of it out, that water, you'll see the water climb up the paper towel. So even if the paper towel is out of the water will wick up into the rest of the paper towel. And that's why they call it wicking, because a candle wick wicks the wax up, and that's how it stays lit. It uses that for fuel. So spills can be specifically hard or stains in headliner because the material of a headliner almost helps the stain wick more. I don't know what it is about headliner in particular, but it's the material of the headliner that it's very difficult to get it in one pass. And so I think the ring is comparable to like a stain in a carpet that's a spill, a coffee spill. You can clean the coffee spill, but the stain might wick back up and there's an outline. It happens a lot in fabric seats as well. The headliner material, the fabric seat material is kind of similar, at least the newer fabric seat material, and it has this tendency to create this outline after it dries. And I think the best thing to solve that, if you're dealing with something like a fabric seat or carpet, the best way to solve that is extracting. You have to pull the stain, the spill out, because just scrubbing it and mopping it up with like a microfiber towel is not going to do it. And it sucks, but it is kind of the way it is. And now headliner in particular, what I would say is hit it once, hit it again, then hit it again. But honestly, for me, I would just hit it with the FX 5000 steamer, and the steamer would pretty much take care of it because the steamer with the microfiber towel wrapped around it is so hot that it loosens so much of everything that it just gets it in one pass because the heat just pulls it loosens everything, and the scrubbing of the microfiber towel pulls all of it out in like one pass pretty much. And so I know that it's like a difficult because you might not have the money for the VX 5000 or like a steamer in general, but I would just say, you know, yes, headliners can drive you nuts, man. It's one of those areas where it's like it depends on the specific situation, you know, and it's difficult. You know, there's no way to get around it. It's just a difficult area. But I would say hit it once while you're first beginning, then halfway through your detail, hit it again, then halfway through, hit it again. Does it make come off so we agree that the upholstery... Yeah, if you're cleaning upholstery, I know that I did my video this morning and I didn't include water extraction when you're dealing with upholstery. Just a couple things on that subject. Number one, if you're dealing with upholstery that has like stains and spills in particular, definitely you want to extract because spills, once again, are going to wick. However, the steamer is also ridiculously awesome on the upholstery seat. And the steamer is going to hit pretty much everything in one pass as well. Well, most of the time. But if you're just using a scrub brush and a microfiber towel on upholstery, like fabric seats in particular, especially the new, then... Sorry, I'm reading questions and answering at the same time. And I suck at multitasking. If you're just using a microfiber towel and a scrub brush to clean upholstery, the fabric seats, you might be in a situation where the staining and the dirt is so bad that that's not going to be enough. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast. You might need to use an extractor or a steamer. And once again, if it's a spill, I'm going with the extractor. If it's just regular dirt or regular stains, I'm going with the steamer. And Jason, you just asked me if I'd rather have a steamer or an extractor. Steamer! I would rather have a steamer. An extractor, and I think that might, if you like are in the detailing industry right now at all, you're gonna find out real fast that a lot of detailers right now are going like way more for steamers than they are extractors, and I think there's a lot of drawbacks to an extractor, and I think there's more pros to a steamer than there are for an extractor. Number one, an extractor head is very wide, and so you can't fit in small spaces. Number two, if you're extracting from upholstery, you have to be very careful because Alex asked that question again in 1 second. You have to be very careful if you're using an extractor on upholstery because if you soak the upholstery in any sort of liquid, there's like pretty much just sponge foam material in that seat that's going to soak up all that liquid. And once it gets down to a certain degree, the extractor can't pull it out. And so very bad things can happen, right? Because that liquid starts to mold or it gets mildewy and smells bad. And then you have a whole new problem on your hands. And people actually have to... replace things sometimes at that point because of what a detailer did. And so I'll actually tell my customers sometimes like, hey, this stain might not come out all the way in the fabric seat because number one, I'm not going to soak it in liquid because that's going to make your problem way worse. Or number two, it's just been sitting there so long, you could steam it, extract it, and still not going to pull it out. And guys, managing expectations is one of the best things you can ever learn to do, whether or not you're a pro detailer or a do-it-yourselfer. Managing your own expectations with your own car when you're cleaning. Guys, that's like the key because like you don't have a magic wand, right? And you can't fix everything. You just can't. Detailing is all about the details, but, you know, a minivan that's not been detailed in 7 years and there's 3 kids in it, like, there's going to be a level of imperfection that's left over. And Zach, I do not live by myself. I live with 3 other guys who all go to MTSU, or go to my college with me. And no, I'm not really a Preds fan, but I'm not a Preds fan. I just don't care about hockey. But the Preds are like killing it. Or I can't. Did they lose last night? I don't remember. Not on topic. We got to get on topic. Still question is what steamer should one get that's affordable? Okay, so if you don't want to get the VX5000 and you want to get an affordable steamer, oh, that's such a good question. I've got my computer right here. If you don't want to get the VX5000 but you want to get a great steam cleaner, there is one that let's see if I can type it in on Amazon. There's one. Here it is. Okay, the McCulloch. I think McCulloch MC1275 heavy duty steam cleaner. It's like it's $103 on Amazon. And I watched a guy's YouTube video where he used this and it was titled something like steam cleaning or detailing on a budget. Yes, exactly, Alex. The VX5000 is an $800 steamer. So my detailing business is big, you know, and it's grown into something that's very profitable, and so I can afford to invest in things like that at this point, but a lot of people cannot, right? And I certainly couldn't a few years ago. And so I think the McCulloch is a good one. The McCulloch, I think, comes in 2 different, almost, what do you call it? 2 different versions. This one is the cheaper version, the McCulloch MC1275, and I think they've got a little bit bigger one that is a little bit more expensive. Yes, the McCulloch MC1385. Oh, you guys want to see it? Here, I'll show you guys. Here, let me show you. I'll take you in here. Okay. See, I have to look. Okay. Wait, I can switch the camera. Yes. Oh, baby. Here we go. This is the McCulloch MC1385. It's $200. And I think it's just got a little bit more PSI. It probably heats up quicker, holds more water, and it might get a little bit more hot. The other one that I would suggest, if you can't afford the $200 one, is I would go with this one, which is the McCulloch MC1275 Heavy Duty Steam Cleaner, $100. And that one's going to hold less water, probably not heat up quite as fast, might not get to quite the same temperature. And yes, you can get them at Home Depot. And thing about it, guys, is understand that it's kind of like manage your expectations when you buy something like this, because it's not going to be the VX5000, and so it's going to help, but you might better save your money and just go in something big. But okay, if you want to make a video on cleaning all weather floor mats, just spray purple powder. Okay. Yes, cleaning weather floor mats. When I clean weather floor mats, I literally just take the easiest route that I think is out there, and I will just use full strength purple power, scrub them down, hose them off. But when the floor mats, the rubber weather mats are drying, make sure that you either wipe them immediately with a microfiber towel and dry them off yourself, or put them in the shade to dry, because if they dry in the sun, they will get water spots just like a car will. Do I buy most of my products from Amazon or AutoGeek? I don't really buy anything from AutoGeek. I buy most of my products from Amazon, though I just had a company called Lux Car Care Products or something reach out to me because of this YouTube channel and offer me a, what if you use this water? You're funny. And they offered me a deal on their products to kind of show them in my YouTube video. So I'll probably review some of their products here coming up, which will be good. But yeah, guys, any more questions? Throw them at me, or I'll take one off YouTube. Anything specific? Anything specific? I have to keep checking. How do you pick... Thank you, Junior. How do you pick what products, brands to use as your detail business from McGuire's Mothers? Okay, yeah, so as far as like picking a certain brand to use, Junior, I definitely don't choose my products based on what brand they are. I choose my products based on the results they produce. And so, for example, 4 of my main products nowadays, well, let me say 5. 3 of my main products for the longest time were McGuire's Super Degreaser, McGuire's All-Purpose Cleaner, and Purple Power. And I don't choose the McGuire's products because they're McGuire's. I just choose them because they give great results. And so as a rule, I love McGuire's professional line products. I love McGuire's X-Wax. I love McGuire's Wheel Brightener, McGuire's Super Degreaser, McGuire's All-Purpose Cleaner. I love that. I love all their professional line products. But I'm not against Mothers or anybody else. I just don't think their products, at least like the all-purpose cleaner products, the degreaser products, are quite as effective. What type of acrylic coatings have you used or recommended? I don't. That's a simple answer, huh? I don't. Have you ever done a super clean like Chris Fix? I've seen those videos and they have like 1 million views. It's crazy. And I don't really understand what a super clean is. I guess that's just like cleaning it to like the maximum degree that you could clean it. And no, I've never done a video like that. But I will if you want me to. Yeah. Anybody else? Throw them at me. Do you do paint chip repair? Just started my own business and seems like a lot of people need paint chips repaired. I don't know if I'm confident in that. Paint chip repair is something that I do not do. And it's not because I don't know how. I just realized how little business there was for it in my area. I have met in my 7 years of detailing, maybe 4 people have asked me to do paint chip repair. And it just wasn't worth it to me. And so, yeah, I just don't. No, I don't. Basically, like before you wax it, you use normal... Oh. How often do I clay bar a car? I clay bar a car. I don't know if it's I can put a time stamp on it as much as I would just say I clay bar a car whenever it's necessary. So some detailers clay every single car before they wax them. I do not, just because not every car has to be clay barred in order to wax it, but every car needs to be clay barred at some point. Clay bar or nano skin, definitely clay bar, 100% clay bar. Not that I don't like nanoskin, but definitely clay bar. So I only clay bar it when it's absolutely necessary, or not absolutely necessary, but just when it needs to be clay barred, and I upcharge for it. I don't include a clay bar in my regular full detail. I charge an extra $10, $20, $30, $40, $45, $50, depending on the size of the car. Yeah, but like I clayed the Jag that I did this afternoon because it was like 14 years old and it needed to be clay barred. And if you don't clay some cars, trying to apply wax to them is like trying to put wax on sandpaper, and you'll never get it off, and it's just terrible. So I'm not against nano skins. They don't embed the contaminants that they pull off. 1992 plus 14. Oh, you're killing me on my math, dude. Come on, don't humiliate me. No, I'm just kidding. The owner just said it was 14 years old. That's why that number popped into my head. But nanoskins don't embed the, what am I thinking of? Contaminants. They just kind of, like the clay bar puts them in the clay, and that's why it's safe to use for me. It doesn't scratch anything. What are the basics car detailing supplies or equipment needed besides a bucket? What are the basic car detailing equipment you need? Well, let me tell you how I started. I started detailing cars in a 1997 Mazda Miata convertible deep blue sports car. So I had a tray. I'll answer your question, Jason, in just a second. I had a crate of products. I had Armor All, I had a carpet shampoo from Chemical Guys, and I think that was it. Some towels. And so really the essentials are whatever you want, but here's what I would say is a running list of something that you might want to include. Number 1, I would have a good all-purpose cleaner. Number 2, I would have a good degreaser. Number 3, window shine. Number 4, some sort of something to remove stains. Whether it be the all-purpose cleaner or degreaser, that's great, but some type of something to attack fabric or carpet. And then, of course, on the outside, a wash bucket, some wash, and you might want to have a clay bar in that and some wax. And that's going to be like the bare minimum. That's just some stuff that popped to my head. So, like, that's kind of random, but I would have something good to clean everything on the inside and good to wax on the outside. Yeah. Chemical Guys exotic waxes that cost upwards of $1,000. You can bet your boy Luke is not about to do that. That's ridiculous. I don't even understand that. Those products are normally reserved for the really high-end boutique detailing shops, which pretty much take about 2 to 3 days to detail any car that they do, and they're charging way more than just $1,000. They're charging anywhere from like $800 to like $3-4 grand to detail the kind of cars they do. And yeah, so that's not my world. What kind of tire shine do I use? I love Chemical Guys VRP, and I love, hey Matt, ask that question again in like 30 seconds, please, so that I can have it again and remember what you asked. But I use Chemical Guys VRP for tire shine, and I use Stoner More Shine Tire Shine. Chemical Guys VRP is a gel, or like a, no, it's not a gel, but it's like a sponge applicated tire shine, and Stoner More Shine Tire Shine is an aerosol can dressing, and you always want to have both because some tires can, you can apply with a sponge, but some tires are really like tready and knobby, like the big truck tires, or some tires these days are manufactured, even on sedan size cars, they have a very rough sidewall, and if you try to apply like a certain gel coating, it'll tear apart your sponge, and so I just go ahead and use an aerosol can dressing for those as well. Matt, if you can ask that question again, I'd love to answer it. What wax do I use? Brent, ask your question again real fast. Do you quote, I want to answer this first. Do you quote a price range over the phone, or do you quote a fairly precise price before seeing the vehicle? That's such a good question. Thank you for asking that. I give a price range over the phone, but here's the 2 things I require before I do that. A phone appointment with all my customers where I get to ask a running list of questions to make sure I can, like mileage on the car, color of the car, year of the car, are you the first owner, how many kids do you have, do you ever take pets in it? I mean, I ask like so many questions, and then I also require pictures from the customer of the car that they send to just like take with their phone. So I take those 2 things and couple them together, and I will give a price range over the phone. And normally I like to give anywhere from like a $40 to like $50 price range gap that gives me some wiggle room. So I might say $150 to $200, and if they say yes, then great. I like to give a pretty good range because I have seriously been in a place before where I did not do that and you get gypped. Do I ever use sandpaper for headlights? Yes, I only use sandpaper for headlights. That's how you restore headlights. Because headlights the reason headlights start to yellow and fog, and I use a polisher as well, but I have to finish with a polisher because I'll explain this. That's a great question. Headlight restoration, the reason headlights start to get foggy is because the plastic headlight is manufactured with a clear coat on the outside, just like your paint is. And so that clear coat, if the headlight's not cleaned on a regular basis, the clear coat begins to just get so dirty, and so it's on the front of the car, the headlight, so they just get pegged with everything, and it starts to degrade. And as that clear coat on the headlight degrades, it starts to fall apart and it just gets dirty and foggy, and that's why the headlight is not actually foggy. It's the clear coat that gets really foggy. And so in order to restore the headlight, you have to sand that clear coat off completely. And then you go higher and higher grade sandpaper to make the scratches finer and finer and finer. And then when you get to about 2000 grade sandpaper, you can polish it off and make them just like get all the tiny minuscule scratches out. Jason, I will check out Griot's Aerosol Tire Shine for sure. Definitely. So yes, I believe you. I definitely believe you. Love Griot's products. They're great. Yes, and definitely protect the headlights afterwards. So apply a sealant, apply a wax, whatever, because those headlights are then kind of stripped bare, right? The clear coat is totally taken off, so you definitely want to apply some sort of protectant, for sure. For sure. Okay, anybody else? I know there were questions that came in that I didn't answer when I was doing that spiel. So, anybody? I'll wait for just 1 second. Is there a trade-off to working quicker to make more money versus quality of work? Matt, that's a great question, and I think it just depends on what you're going for with your business, and it depends on what your customer wants. And how do I handle unhappy customers? That was funny. How do I handle unhappy customers? Well, let me just say this. If you run a business at all, it doesn't even matter if it's detailing. If you're the owner of a business, you will deal with unhappy customers because we live in the US of A, baby. And if people don't get what they want here, they are not okay. And that's just what happens with people. We get spoiled here, and when we get ungrateful, we start expecting things, and when we don't have our expectations fulfilled like we think we should, then we're all done out. But anyways, I deal with unhappy customers pretty much the way I deal with... Let me give you an example. Number one, I try to take as many precautions necessary as I can so that I don't have unhappy customers. By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, or if you're watching on the replay, this is the live stream of Wilson Under Detailing's first question and answer. So I am literally just answering questions right off the bat as they're coming in from people watching. So, how do I handle unhappy customers? I take as many precautions as I can beforehand so that I minimize the chance that they're going to be unhappy. So in other words, I have that running list of questions that I ask them. I get them to send me pictures. So I make sure I communicate as much as possible. But even over the phone, I always tell people, hey, I need you to understand that there may be some things that cannot be fixed. Here are a couple areas of cars that tend to be problem areas that sometimes cannot be restored to perfection. And I really try to bring down their level of expectation as much as I can, because I know the quality of work I do, and I know they're going to wet their pants when they see it, but I want to bring their expectations down so that when they do see when I get done, they're just like shocked. And one time I had a customer who said, I want you to come do a job. So naturally, I ran through my whole list of questions. I got pictures sent over, and I got there, and there was this humongous coffee spill on the passenger side driver's fabric seat. And he goes, yeah, I don't know where that came from, man. Sorry I didn't tell you about that over the phone. And so I said, well, I just want to make sure you understand before I get started that that's probably not going to come out completely. That's going to be, there's going to be a level of that's permanent. And because it had been sitting there for like forever. That was not a new spill, but he just didn't tell me about it. Well, I got done, and it looked amazing. I mean, it looked so much better. You could barely see the stain at all. And he was very unsatisfied. He was pretty PO'd. And he was like, man, the only reason I called you out here was because I wanted that fixed. And I was like, dude, you need to take a communications class, because if that's the reason you called me out and you didn't tell me about it, I don't know what to tell you. So honestly, man, I think when you're dealing with unhappy customers, number one, there's some people that are just going to be unhappy, and it's not, the pressure is not on you to change their attitude, but I hope that helps. Hey, Luke, what would be some of the questions you ask the customer over the phone before you begin? That's a great question. No, I do not have liability insurance. I have found that if I ever do something wrong, either the customer loves me so much because of our previous interaction and like building relationships. I'm a very friendly guy, and I'm not saying that like in an arrogant way. People like my attitude, and so people don't get frustrated with me very much at all. But number two, if I ever do have something that I do wrong and I have to, I feel like I need insurance for it, I can just pay them out, really. You can pay them $500, whatever it takes, and I just don't think it's worth the cost of liability insurance. But it may be for you. For me, it's not. That's maybe happened once. some questions that I ask the customers. Matt, ask that question again in a second. The number one question, here's the first few questions I ask. Hey, so-and-so, what's the make and model of your car? Okay, 2010 Toyota Corolla, awesome. Are you the first owner? No, you're the second owner. Okay, very good. How many miles does it have on it? 75,000. Okay, great. It's got 75,000 miles on it. You're the second owner, and it's a Toyota Corolla 2010. Okay, that's not too recent, but it's not too old. What color is the exterior? Awesome. Do you ever get it washed on a regular basis? Is it kept in a garage or is it kept outside? Are there any specific scratches that you'd like me to take more consideration or looking at? Do you drive this car on a daily basis? On the inside of the car, is it fabric or leather seats? Is it cloth? Do you have weather mats or is it just cloth floorboards? Are there any stains specifically? What color is the interior? You get the point. Do you have kids? Do you take your kids in the car? Do you have pets? Do you take your pets in the car? Do you ever clean the inside out on a regular basis? No. Have you ever cleaned it out? No. Okay, great. I know what I'm getting into. So those are some of the basic questions that I ask right there. Matt, you had a good question. What was it? I don't remember. But I know it was good. And I'd like you to ask it again. How long does an average size sedan exterior only detail take you? Wash, clay, synthetic sealant, or wax? Looking for a general time reference. Honestly, man, I think if you can write me in again, are you beginning detailing or are you very experienced, like you've been doing this for a long time, or what? Where do you stand with that? Because I guess what I would say is I don't know that it's a good idea to necessarily compare to other detailers how long it's taking them, because number one, it's going to vary, but number two, I guess if I had to put a number on it, my average time for the exterior only of a sedan, if it's just the average car, average sedan, I don't want to spend any more than an hour and 45 minutes. And even that is kind of like pushing it for me. I don't want to spend any more than 2 hours. But if I'm charging for more than 2 hours, then definitely. So I guess the reason I say be careful about comparing is just because, like, in your world, you're charging differently than I am. Probably you're working on different cars than I am, maybe. You got different clientele. You're in a different area. And so in Michigan, in the wintertime, it might take more time to do the exterior detail than it is in the summertime in Middle Tennessee, because they're dealing with road salt and ice and all that sort of stuff. And so I would just say, definitely don't be down if you take more time than that, or if you take less time. You're beginning 4 months professionally, but seem to be struggling with timing. Okay, hey, let me just encourage you, Matt, because everyone struggles with timing. I, to this day, struggle with timing. Do not let that, don't even give that a second thought, man. Do not let that beat you up, please. It is not even worth thinking about. Every detailer is going to struggle with timing, and man, as you do it more and more, you get more and more of a rhythm and a strategy down, and you also invest in better products and tools that decrease the amount of time you're spending. I mean, at the end of the day, the VX5000 steamer lets me do the interior of a car much quicker than, not having it. And so, man, just be encouraged. Do not, it's okay, totally okay if you're spending, a good amount of time. That's expected. And honestly, man, sometimes it can even work to your advantage because your customer sees how long you're working on their car, and there's a little bit of a guilt factor in your customer. Like, this has happened to me before. They're just like, oh, I feel so bad. You're working so long. I didn't know it was that bad. And they end up tipping you really well. So do you recommend buying gallon size over consumer size for wheel cleaners or degreasers? In my world, I absolutely buy gallon size degreasers and wheel cleaners because I go through so much of it. And so I go through a ton, right? So I can't afford to be spending $7 on a 28-ounce bottle of something. That's ridiculous, when there are professional grade products for so cheap for a gallon size that's just not financially viable. So I definitely buy degreasers and wheel brightener or wheel cleaners in the gallon size because I just use so much of it. If you could pick only 10 products to use to detail a car, what would you choose, Colin? That's such a hard question. But how about this? Let me give you at least like 5 products. I don't know if I could choose 10. Here we go. Meguiar's All-Purpose Cleaner. Super Clean. Degreaser. Purple Power. Optimum No Rinse. Meguiar's Wheel Brightener. Those 5 would be my top 5. I don't know if I can give you a top 10. But I mean, obviously, top 10, you're going to want to get like some sort of window cleaner, obviously. You're going to want to get an alcohol and distilled water solution going so that you can clean the glass and then, you know, follow up with a window shine. Guys, if you are just joining, this is the Wilson Auto Detailing first live stream for question and answer. So people are just writing in questions and I'm answering them right off the bat. And if you are just starting, definitely give this a thumbs up. It's got 11 likes so far, so sweet. But, definitely give it a thumbs up. I thought that I'd just go for an hour. So we're at 50 minutes and 32 seconds. So we got about 10 minutes left, and I thought I'd end it at an hour. I thought that would be a good time. So because I need a shower because I smell absolutely rancid right now. Do you ever use Meguiar's Wheel Brightener for water spot or bug removal? Yes, I do, Matt. I use it for water spot removal. I don't necessarily use it for bug removal. Some people talk about how it's good for bug removal, and I've not really found that to be the case, though if that's good in your world, definitely do it. But Meguiar's Wheel Brightener is also really good on the chrome pieces on the front end of certain cars that have chrome pieces that have a lot of bug splatter. And what do I mean by window shine? What I mean by window shine is, how else would I explain that? Like Windex is a window cleaner, right? And that's kind of what I mean. And I don't mean necessarily Windex specifically. I just mean like that sort of product, like a glass specific product, like a window shine. But you don't want to just use a window, like you don't want to just use, like Stoner has a great window product or window cleaner product called Invisible Glass. But the window needs to be cleaned before you apply like the Windex product, right? But the you know what I'm saying. So I clean the glass with a solution of 50% distilled water, 50% rubbing alcohol, because that cleans all the oil off, all the fingerprints, all the fog, and then you apply the window shine. It's just like when you clay and wax your car. You got to prepare it, then wax it. How do you remove wax/polish from black textured trim or cracks if necessary? Colin, ask your detailing and engine question in just a second. When I'm dealing with black trim and like those tiny little grooves that catch like, old wax, old paste wax or something, number one, you can use that rubbing alcohol is really good for black trim if you're wanting to clean it and prepare it before you apply like a sort of black trim restoration product. Or if you're trying to get old wax off of black trim, rubbing alcohol is great, but also a steamer is a really good option because the steamer can get in all those microscopic, grooves of the black texture. And so, but I would say rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is a really good idea. Colin, you had a question about engine detailing, and it was really, or I didn't read it all, but I anticipated that it was really good. So if you want to ask that, I'd be more than happy to answer it. When detailing an engine, is the alternator something that needs to be covered and protected from water? I think the simple answer to this question is that modern day engines, do not necessarily need to have anything covered. Now that is a general rule. There may be some exceptions, but I don't even cover the alternator. I don't. I've never, not once, had a problem. But like, for example, this Jaguar, Junior, will you ask that again in just a second? This Jaguar that I just got done doing this afternoon is a 1991, and they wanted the engine detailed. Well, it's a V12, first of all, and the engine under the hood is just so complicated, and there's so many moving parts. I'm not going to use water on an engine like that because it's too old. It's not protected. It's just too dangerous, and so I would have to take my steamer. So I said, call me back and let's schedule the engine bay detailing at a different time, and I'll use my steamer because it's going to be a very time-consuming thing. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. I don't cover the alternator for modern-day engines. It's just not an issue. It's just a non-issue. Modern-day engines are so sealed that they're so watertight, it's not an issue. Junior, you had a question that was good, I think. And yes, you're making me laugh. It's funny. Pretty classic. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? I know that there were just some questions that were written in that I didn't answer because I was talking about engines. Somebody said something? Anyone? What's the best sealant in your opinion? Somebody already asked that, EY, but I guess you just tuned in, and I would say that I don't think I have, Colin, absolutely, thanks for watching, buddy. I don't think I have a one favorite sealant, but as far as sealants go, to be honest, it's kind of a simple answer and basic answer, but Griot's Garage has kind of a retail product that's called One Step Sealant that comes with their DA orbital, and I think that's a great product. I don't think it has any abrasives in it. I think it's a chemical scratch remover. I'm not going to explain what that is, or a chemical-based scratch remover, or chemical-based sealant, so it doesn't have any abrasives, I don't think, because it's a retail product. But I do like that one a lot. It's a great finisher. Definitely a great finisher. Anybody else? Definitely. Thank you for watching, buddy. And if you're just tuning in, make sure to give this video a like. And do I use glazes? No, I don't, Nathan. Very simple answer. No, I don't. Yes, I will make a list of video questions that I ask over a phone, and I'll hook it up in a description box below, definitely. And do I do undercarriages? Sometimes, but most customers just don't really care about paying for that, so not too often. Matt, I think you just asked a question, or somebody said something. Colin, last one. What's the farthest you travel to your client's house to detail their car? Honestly, there are times when I've traveled an hour, but I charge for it. So if your travel time is going above, I don't know, anything, I don't know. You have to judge that in your own world. If my travel time goes above like 30 minutes, I charge a pretty good price extra. Is it necessary to have a vehicle inspection form? No. Simple answer, no. I don't think so. But some might disagree with me, I don't know. I don't, and I never have. And I just don't think I think it's overcomplicating things, to be honest, to do that. But if you want to do that, do it. What do you use to restore trim? I use a product called Solution Finish. You can get it on Amazon in like a 1-ounce container or like a 12-ounce container. It's pretty expensive, but a little goes a long way. And it is a true black trim restoration product. Again, it's called Solution Finish. Solution Finish. And it will truly restore the black trim. It's a very, very good product. Very good product. Anybody else? Do you remove seats to clean all the carpet though? Yes. If I'm detailing a minivan or... No, it doesn't affect the paint. Solution Finish is not going to do anything to the paint. Just wipe it off if you get it on. And I remove the seats. Yeah, Alex, you do ask a lot of questions, but I like to answer a lot of questions. I remove the seats in minivans, and I remove the seats in like SUVs, Suburbans, like the back seats, because it just makes it easier. And it allows you to deliver a level 10 service, right? Because you're getting like all that carpet that would otherwise be very difficult to get. Yes, definitely. And I just did a Tahoe, a big Suburban today, and I did that. I removed the back seats. And it makes it easier to clean the seats, too, because they're out of the car, and it's kind of an easier process. Anybody else? Anybody else? If you're just tuning in, have you heard of wax gauze or products? If so, what are your thoughts? Yes, okay. If you're just tuning in, this is Wilson Auto Detailing's live broadcast of question and answer. So I'm just answering questions right off the bat as people are writing them in. And if you're watching this on the replay, make sure to give it a like and comment any questions below. And Wax Gods, yes, they've got a cool Instagram account, actually. Wax Gods is great. I mean, I don't really have an opinion of them. I think wax is wax. Like, yes, there are better waxes that are easier to apply, easier to take off. They might look a little bit better, but honestly, wax just doesn't need to be overthought. How do you choose your business legal structure? Wow, what a great question. I have an LLC, or I'm a sole proprietor. It's a sole proprietor. That's mine. What do you dress engine bays with? I dress engine bays with Stoner's Tire Shine or Meguiar's, or Chemical Guys VRP. And I might dilute it a little bit as well, and I'll spray it in a spray bottle. Do you have a price for every part of the car, like trunk, engines, doors, etc.? To answer that question, visit my website, wilsonautodetailing.com. and then there's a pricing tab at the top. It's so easy to navigate. I designed the website myself. It's very easy to navigate. It's very obvious. There's a tab at the top that says pricing. Just click it and you'll see exactly how I divide everything up. It's very clear. Anybody else, guys? We're wrapping up right now. Any last minute questions? Last minute questions. I like the live stream. It's very cool. Okay. This is the very last question I'll take. Have you ever used Meguiar's Synthetic Sealant M21? And do you use liquid or paste wax? I have used that as the M21, and it's great. I don't really have anything else to say about it besides it's great. Like, it's a good product. But I don't really use it. I don't have it in my arsenal right this second. It's just not something that's like, it's kind of, anyways. I use both liquid and paste waxes. Depending on what kind of car I'm doing. If I'm doing a nicer car, like one of my nicer maintenance vehicles, like my nicer BMWs or Jaguars or things like that, I might use a paste wax, like Meguiar's synthetic, what is it, Meguiar's synthetic paste wax or something. And if I'm just doing like a Suburban or just like, you know, your average daily driver, I might just make it kind of quick and just use Meguiar's Synthetic Express Spray Wax, because spray waxes are very quick, very easy to use, very fast, very easy to apply and take off, and Meguiar's Synthetic Express Spray Wax can be used in the sun. And the paste wax for Meguiar's that I use can also be used in the sun. The Meguiar's, I think it's called Meguiar's Synthetic Paste Wax, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Guys, I know you're still writing in questions, and here's what you can do is just comment maybe below the video when the replay is up, and I'll answer those questions for sure. I wish you guys could talk back to me verbally. It'd be so easier, but guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is awesome, right? Like, isn't it so awesome? Like, we can just like ask questions like that and get involved, and like, it's so cool. So guys, yes, Guitar Apprentice, thank you for watching. I'm so glad this can help. Like, I love that this, like, Dylan, dang, man, I'm sorry. But watch the replay. Watch the replay. I'm so glad things like this can help people. When I was starting out detailing, I remember how frustrating it was because of not getting the results that I wanted and being confused, and not just not getting the results, but not knowing how, like what steps to take. Nathan, thank you. Matt, thank you. You guys are the best. And I'm just glad that we can do things like this to help you guys out, because, man, it's just, how long, okay, I'll take this question. How long did it take to build my clients? I've been doing this for 7 years. But honestly, man, it can take a year, it can take 4 months, it can take 3 months, it can take 1 month, it can take 5 months. I mean, it depends on how much you're willing to hustle, to be honest. It depends, do you have any, I mean, there's a lot of different, like, Nick, thank you, buddy. There's a lot of different variables. Do you have an internet presence? Are you just doing business cards? You know, things like that. But how much are you willing to hustle is really how big you're going to build your clientele, because there's a ton of business for detailing. Yes, Junior, thank you. Tune in for the next Luke going live. Just kidding. Wilson on Detailing going live. And, guys, thank you so much. I'm so glad we can do this. I can't say it enough how glad I am that we can do something like this. Make sure to ask me any questions. Brandon, thank you for watching. I'm glad it could help. John, thank you. Yes, please subscribe to the channel. You know, we're at over 500 subscribers now. And just by the way, this is not just my channel. This is our channel, right? Because without you guys, it wouldn't it wouldn't exist. So this is our Wilson Auto Detailing channel. It's not mine. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Definitely comment below this video with any additional questions, and I'll make sure I stay up late answering questions. So I'll make sure that I do it. And guys, I will... Dylan, thank you. Colin, that's a classic name. You're hilarious. Guys, I'm going to sign off. Make sure that you guys tune in for the next one. And I'm going to go ahead and end it, all right? See you guys later. Oh, when's the next vid? I come out with daily videos. So check it out. Every morning I post. And I'll let you guys know when the next live Q&A is. We'll probably do it in maybe another week and a half. We'll do another live Q&A. All right, guys. See you later. I don't think I'm signed off. My stupid phone, man. My phone is so... Ah, it's so classic. See, now it's not going to sign off. Well, guys. Oh well.